everyone, my name is Jane Harper and today I'm going to be taking you through another week in my life as a college student at Mizzou. Let's go! I start out the morning by quickly going through my email before heading over to my Spanish class. Today, we discuss the present perfect subjunctive, which essentially means we're talking about sentences that deal with emotions. After class, I head back to my apartment and donate to my sorority's GoFundMe for $5K in a day, which is where we try to raise $5,000 in 24 hours for True North, which is the local shelter for survivors of domestic and sexual violence. One way that we raise money is by posting about it on our Instagram and Snapchat stories. After that, I drive to Target to stock up on groceries for the week. Then, I meet up with Allison at Noodles & Company for the profit share, which means that 15% of the proceeds go to our charity. Once I get back to my apartment, I write down all of the homework I have to do for this week, which thankfully isn't too much. Next, I go to the gym to get some cardio in on the Stairmaster. Once I'm done, I walk over to the sorority house to grab some lemonade, which is also for our charity. Then I head out to the deck to take some notes over Bolivia, but unfortunately it was pretty windy, so I head inside to finish up my Spanish homework. After that, Allison joins me for dinner at the house, which was absolutely delicious. Then we walk over to the Arts and Science building for chapter. First, a representative for Rams came to present us with our awards for winning first place. We raised the most amount of money and won the dance competition, so we were super excited. Once she left, we discussed everything else coming up in the week, which took about an hour.
Can I be in it? Of course.
When we're done, I head back to my apartment and do the readings for my cross-cultural journalism class. This week, we're learning about structural racism and environmental concerns. And once I'm finished, I decide to call it a night. The second I wake up, I check the GoFundMe and was happy to see we reached our goal. We raised $5,135 in total for True North, which is absolutely amazing. After that, I check my email really quick before walking to my cross-cultural journalism class. Today, we talked about environmental racism and watched a haunting documentary called Mossville When Great Trees Fall, which I highly recommend. Once class is over, I head to Memorial and grab Wheatstone with my friends for lunch. After a quick Starbucks run, I take notes over my art history textbook, specifically the section about the camera's history and the snapshot aesthetic. Then I walk to Middlebush for my art history class, where we discuss and expand upon the readings. When I get back to my apartment, I head to the gym to do some weights. After I'm done, I go back upstairs to do my statistics quiz, which I am praying I do well on. Then it's time to register for my classes next semester. I'm only going to be taking 14 credit hours, so hopefully it won't be too crazy busy. Next, I do some readings and watch a TED Talk about trust in journalism for my newsroom class. I also have to write a discussion post about my news consumption. I'm done with all that, it's time for dinner, so I warm up a quick meal and watch Gossip Girl, which is currently my favorite show. After that, I take notes over my statistics lecture, which is about understanding probability and long-term expectations. But then, I decide to call it a night. When I wake up, I quickly check my email before heading to my Spanish class. Today, we're just reviewing for our exam by going through various practice problems. Then, I walk back to my apartment and immediately check to see what I scored on my statistics quiz yesterday. Surprisingly, I got 100%. So exciting. After that, I do my Spanish homework over the present perfect subjunctive tense. By then, it's time for lunch, so I decide to experiment a little bit and make some strawberry and Nutella crepes. They turned out pretty well in my opinion, and I'll definitely be making them again. Next, I get ready for my newsroom shift and head over to the J School. This week, we're discussing our new story ideas. Eventually, we decide to cover Jobs with Justice, an organization that fights for workers' rights and employment security. After class, I go back to my apartment and do the readings for my art history class tomorrow over the smartphone and the selfie. Then it's time for dinner, so I head to Southwest to grab 1839 Kitchen and olive and oil with Joey. We also decide to go grab some Starbucks and chill outside for a little bit to enjoy the amazing weather. Once we're done, it's time to get ready to go out. Tonight, my sorority is having a St. Patrick's themed marriage party with Phi Delta Theta, aka Phi Delt, to celebrate our upcoming partnership during Greek Week, which is a competition between all the Greek houses to raise the most money for charity. So my friends and I walk over to Phi Delt to check in and catch the bus to Fieldhouse, which is one of the most popular clubs in town.
Myself from you, yeah.
Midnight, we catch the bus back to the sorority house and call it a night. Unfortunately, I overslept, so I have to run to get to my cross-cultural journalism class on time. Today, we watched There's Something in the Water, which discusses pollution in Nova Scotia, Canada. In honor of St. Patrick's Day, I head to the engineering school to walk across the Shamrock, which means that I'm destined to marry an engineer now. But we'll have to see how that goes. After that, I head to Memorial with Joey to grab Wheatstone for lunch. Next, I take notes over my second statistics lecture, which continues to talk about understanding probability and long-term expectations. Once I'm done with that, it's time to go to my art history class. Today, we discuss the readings from our textbook about the smartphone and the selfie. After that, I walk to the sorority house to meet up with my little and make bracelets, which turned out super cute. Then, I summarize all of the research I've gathered for my cross-cultural journalism paper about false narratives. By then, it's time to eat, so Ella and I go to Southwest to grab Legacy Grill. Next, I go back to my apartment and hit the Stairmaster for about 30 minutes before getting ready to go to a St. Patrick's Day party at Alpha Epsilon Pi, aka AE Pi. Around 1 a.m., I head back to my place and call it a night. Thankfully, I wake up on time today, so I have time to check my email really quick before heading to my Spanish class. Today, we're reviewing for our exam on Monday, which I'm honestly pretty stressed about. After class, I go to the Student Center to grab a late breakfast at Infusion, one of the bakeries on campus. Hot chocolate and muffins secure, I head to the basement to just sit down and watch some March Madness highlights for about an hour before my next class. Then, I head to my art history discussion, which is in the library today. Because we have a research paper coming up over the artwork of our choice, we need to find some sources. So I head upstairs to find a book about propaganda. And after a lot of wrong turns, I finally find the book I'm looking for and head back to my apartment to do my weekly art history quiz. Next, I head to the gym and hit the Stairmaster for a little bit. By the time I'm done, I'm hungry again, so I warm up a quick little meal and watch some more March Madness. After that, it's time for my tanning appointment. I've recently started tanning once a week, not only because it makes me feel happy and healthier, but it also helps me feel more confident. Then I head back up to my room and start doing research about jobs with justice for my newsroom class. Once I've figured out who I want to interview and what I want to ask, I make some strawberry Nutella crepes for dinner and watch some more March Madness before deciding to call it a night. After sleeping in quite a bit, I get up around 11 and quickly check my email before heading over to Memorial to grab some Starbucks for a late breakfast. Then, I head back to my apartment and start creating the layouts for the Instagram stories I'm creating for my newsroom class. Next, I do my statistics homework, which unfortunately takes a couple hours. By the time I finish that, it's time for dinner, so I make some cinnamon rolls, which were absolutely delicious. After that, my friends and I get ready to go to Phi Kappa Theta for a frat party. Around 1 o'clock, I go back to my place and call it a night. Sadly, I have to wake up early today, so I check my email really quick, eat some leftover cinnamon rolls, and head to the sorority house to be a photographer for content day. After a couple hours of taking pictures, I grab some lunch at the house, which was amazing as always, and I also pick up one of the goodie bags Paige, our Vice President of Public Relations, made us. Inside were some buttons, snacks, a necklace, and a little note, which was just so sweet. I also got this shirt that was left over from homecoming, but then it was time to go take more pictures. Once we're done, we head downtown and go to Lost Marks for dinner, and then go to Sparky's to grab some dessert. Next, I walk to my old dorm and meet up with my friends to play It Takes Two in the lounge. After that, I go for the interviews my classmates got earlier today for our Jobs with Justice story, and finish putting together the Instagram stories about the workers. Then, I head back to my apartment and start studying for my Spanish exam. About 4 hours later, I finally call it a night. It was the end of one week and time for the start of another. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content from me in the future, please consider subscribing as well. But I hope to see you in the next video. So, bye-bye for now.